What's up, witches? It's me, Luna, and it is a chilly, rainy, windy afternoon. It's a cozy afternoon, and I have a nice hot cup of thyme and mullein tea. Oh, and I have a deck to unbox for you and do a quick little test drive review. Well, we all know it's not going to be quick, but it's going to be light. This is a relatively recent release from US Games called the Stoller Tarot by Adam Stoller. And I had never heard of this deck before, but US Games, it's such a brilliant marketing thing to put things on sale because they catch me every time. So this was a US Games sale, and I'm looking here and seeing that, thank you, Amazon. Or actually, I think this came straight from US Games. But whoever, packed and delivered, look at the box is all dinged up. I'm not really a fan of decks in tins, I gotta say. And it's kind of hard to open it. And you can even see in the inside how it got kind of dinged. Anyhow, the Stoller Tarot, this delightful deck combines whimsical drawings and humorous stories with a reimagined minor arcana featuring spoons, balloons, buckets, and brooms. How fun is that? 78 pocket-sized tarot cards in a 64-page booklet. This was 2021. Not, well, relatively recent in the entire scope of things, I guess. And already, yeah, the ones that have been with me for a while are laughing right now because whenever I sit and start to work, I get very warm. So here's the book, the LWB. It's been a long road to get this tarot deck into your hands. My interest in art started very early with a fascination for the comic strips that I saw every day in the newspaper. Soon I was drawing my own pictures, and I suppose I eventually saw myself doing this as a career. At the same time, I was a prolific reader and spent a good deal of my time exploring subjects that appealed to me. From history to science fiction, I absorbed whatever information I could. Along the way, I came across tarot cards. It was probably the Fool card that attracted my attention at first, but when I explored a little further, I was fascinated by the imagery on each one of the 78 cards in the deck. Every card told a different story. That, of course, led to me trying my own versions, which turned out to be rather cartoony. As my cartooning skills progressed, I think I always had it in the back of my mind to pursue and finish a tarot deck in that style. So I buckled down and started drawing, beginning, of course, with the major arcana. Sorry, I'm looking to see how very long the introduction is, so we'll skip around here. The characters were the biggest and boldest and seemed to be the most interesting ones to portray. With the Rider-Waite deck as my inspiration, I began to think about how I wanted to approach these images. Okay, thought just reinventing the Waite-Smith with that idea in mind. I kept working at it until I finally completed the deck. I had no idea what to do with my finished product. I think I mainly did it for my own enjoyment. Original drawings were pen and ink, colored with colored pencil on heavy paper stock. Basically made them to function as a one-of-a-kind tarot deck and played around with them. But then they were sitting on a shelf. Every so often I would pull those cards out and redraw a few before moving on again. Eventually time had progressed, and so I had the style and techniques I used to produce my art. With an idea toward updating the whole deck, I once again began redoing all the cards. Basically reused the same image, adding more uniqueness, found a new way to add color. It turned out better than I expected. None of those companies, I did a little research, found a few companies that published tarot decks. None of them thought a cartoon tarot deck would be viable in the market at that time. I wish he told us when that time was. Because wow, have things changed, eh? That was okay since I'd mainly done them for myself. So stuck them in a drawer. Some 20 odd years later, there we go, when I get a call from Stuart Kaplan from US Games Systems. It seems times have changed, and there's a greater interest in unique and whimsical tarot decks. This may be the right time for mine. Okay, unfortunately, over the years, I'd lost track of much of my old work. Was only able to find some old photocopies. It was clear some of the images would now be considered inappropriate, would have to be redrawn. Blah, blah, blah. Skills have gotten better because I was going to be redrawing the images anyway. I thought I might as well do them all again in my current style. I didn't want to copy the images of Rider-Waite, where possible, reimagining them. For the experienced tarot enthusiast, you may find it interesting to spot the use of some of the symbols found in Rider-Waite. I like to think of it like a Where's Waldo kind of thing. My goal was to make the whole deck as fun as possible. As a final note, I would add that I did change the suits of the minor arcana a bit just to make the whole thing a little more whimsical. Change the suits to spoons, balloons, buckets, and brooms. They correspond to the more familiar suits. Spoons are swords, balloons are coins. Interesting. Buckets are cups, and brooms are wands. Okay. Then we go right into the explanations of the cards. Do we have anything? I mean, he told us about himself there, didn't he? Yep. So we get a description of the image, and then we get upright and reversed. And the same thing in an abbreviated form for the minors. All right, let's go. And I don't even see, yeah, he doesn't even put like a spread in here, because there's the end of the book. All right. The sky's the limit. All right. Here I am with my my wonderful wash and wear hair that I am starting to call Eternal Bedhead. Maybe I'll call it I meant to do that. Okay, so here's the deck. First of all, oh, how interesting. I could have sworn that these were linen, but they're not. They're just a satin semi-gloss cardstock. We've got this geometric back that is directional, but that doesn't stop you from reversing them. So he does intend them to be reversed, but the backs are directional. Okay, so here's the Fool, and very recognizable. There he goes off the cliff. He's got the rose in his hand and the little bag and the little puppy jumping and the sun over his shoulder. So very, very recognizable. And so is the art style. He has a really distinctive, stylized, his people are instantly recognizable. There's the magician. So we get like a stage magician. And yes, there are the symbols of all the suits. Popping a rabbit out of a hat. Here's the Popess. We've got the two columns and the crescent moon, the scroll, the cat, and a cross. Interesting. Though she is the Popess after all. Here's the Empress with another little puppy. And the Emperor looking kind of bent and old with the crow coming in here. We don't see Aries symbols, so I'm not going to go. I mean, we can certainly see that these are from Waite-Smith. The images are very familiar, but they're rearranged a bit. So we don't see the Pope, facing front with the two acolytes. We actually see the acolytes. And thank you for having some racial diversity in this light-hearted deck. There's a rose and a lily and the crossed keys. So again, you can look and find the things that are familiar from the Waite-Smith. Here's the lovers, and look at how they're entwined by the snake. And we see the yin-yang in the background and the Cupid. She looks like she's just fallen in love or passing out, one way or t'other. And again, racial diversity, much appreciated. Here's the Chariot. There's that crow again. So let's take a look at how he describes the images. The Chariot. I want to see if he mentions the crow. A weary Roman presses his horses hard to make the long journey home from Britannia. A raven flies overhead, signifying that perhaps the charioteer better keep his eyes on the road, or he might end up in an aqueduct. Okay. Look at this one. So this is a departure, because usually strength shows a woman not being, being very tender and caressing the lion, but the strong man's kind of standing on time. I mean, the lion doesn't look too bothered. We get the little lemniscate above his head. Okay, I'm going to look this one up too. All right. A circus strongman is bulking up by lifting weights. He's attempting to show his dominion over the lion. In retrospect, it was probably a bad idea to try and incorporate the lion into his act. As the lion tamer noted when the strongman was rushed to the hospital, lions don't like to be surprised. Virility, inner strength, potency, confidence, vitality, power. So it definitely takes the strength card in a different direction. Here's the hermit. Very recognizable. The Wheel of Fortune. Oh, I love that it's a roulette wheel. And we have the lion and the eagle and the human and the bull. So we have the 4 fixed signs. That's cool. Here's Justice, who has sliced this snake in half. It reminds me of, was it Solomon, the story about Solomon, where 2 women come claiming one child. They each claim that it's their child. And, one woman is obviously trying to steal the child from the other. And so Solomon says, they come for his wisdom, and he says, fine, to be fair, I'm going to cut the child in half and you each get half. And so the child's real mother then steps up and says, no, give her the child. Please don't harm my child. And that's how Solomon knows who the real mother is. So that kind of brought that in mind, that sort of justice. But I'm going to read what they say here, too. Lady Justice stands with scales in her left hand, perfectly balanced, and a sword in her right hand to defend her decisions. Despite being blindfolded, she's still able to slice the serpent in 2 and prevent him from influencing her decision. It could also be that she just doesn't like snakes. Yes, it's cute. It's whimsical. There certainly is, enough strong reference, if not outright duplication of the Waite-Smith images, that it's very friendly, whether you're a newbie or you're already into Waite-Smith. Here's the Hanged Man. And is that another raven sitting up there? I just have to see. So perhaps someone hung him by his ankle, as was commonly done to traders. Oh, it doesn't mention. All right, well. There's the death card. There's the tea. I'm drinking Mullen tea. I'm going to have to edit so many throat clearings out of this deck because it's, that's the downside of fall. Anyway, here's the death card, and look at the big sun coming up in the background. You know what? I realize just now that I don't really know what is in the standard background of the death card. So I'm going. Okay, so we see that sun. How interesting. Did my cat open the door? Oh, he did. I'm going to kick his butt. I went and closed the door because my husband is talking to his sister on speakerphone, and I can hear every single word of their conversation. And I don't really want you to hear every word of their conversation, but oh well, I'm talking. So there's death. There's temperance, and we get that idea of temperance as self-control. Temper your desires. Balance. Here's the devil. What? Truth. Oh, how interesting. On this platform that the devil is standing on, it says truth, upside down and backwards. What a fascinating addition that is. Here's King Kong on the tower, and there goes Fay Ray. Whoopsie. Didn't mean to drop her, but they shot me in the ass. Here's the star. Again, these lovely recognizable images. A black square, a red triangle. Interesting. Little fishes. There's the moon. The little wolf going, wee. The moon had a big nose. And there's the sun. There's a baby and a horse, but they're both kind of like crawling through the desert. Okay, I gotta look. I mean, it's so very interesting, the different sides, just a little slightly off nuance that he gives. An infant and his horse have ridden out into the desert and now realize what a bad idea that was. The sun smiles down upon the pair, knowing that if they continue to strive forward, they will accomplish their goal of making it out of the desert. Fascinating. There's judgment. Oh. So is this like God sitting at his desk, and there's Adam and Eve, has to be, because there's the serpent in the apple, and he's going, you lose, buckwheat. And here's the world. So how interesting that the Wheel of Fortune has those 4 fixed sign symbols, but the world doesn't. We see the Earth, we see Mars, Sun, there's the Moon, there's Saturn, and there's a shuttle. There's a NASA shuttle. Broadening your horizons. So here's the Ace of Balloons, and the balloons were pentacles, I believe, which I found odd because it's air, but clearly we're out of that structure. So yes, balloons are coins. So here's the Ace of Balloons. And the 2. The mime kind of juggling, but sort of dancing with the dog. There's the juggling balls. And then we get the 3. Collaboration or purchasing. You know, this guy's purchasing something from this guy, obviously. And the 4 of coins. Oh, how interesting is that? The resources, the balloons, want to rise, but we're trying to hold them down. There's the 5. That's very recognizable. So if you were having trouble up to this point figuring out which suit balloons were, this would make it clear. Clearly we have homeless people. Here's the 6 of balloons. Loans, debts, charity. The 7, that's recognizable. The farmer. The 8. He's blowing them up. Okay, creating, making. The 9, there's the lady in her garden. We have the grapes, we have the bird, the hedge. Very familiar. There's the 10. We have 3 generations, lots of balloons. Look at this coat of arms. It literally has arms on it. Oh, come on. You did it for a half a second. Be nice to me. All right, you can see anyway. There's the page, looking very green and purple. The knight on the horse that doesn't go anywhere. Look at the grapes on his helmet. I love it. The queen. She's beautiful. And the king. And let's mention, we've got this little border outlined. It's one thing I didn't say anything about, but it's interesting because the cards are basically borderless. The images go all the way. But that line around the middle, I find myself wondering, do I like it or don't I? And look at this. This little bit overlaps that inner line, and the rest is behind it. Like these clouds. What interesting choices. That just shows a lot of care in my mind. Here's the Ace of Brooms, so we see fire wands. Whee! Here we go. Oh my goodness. There's the 2. I've got the world in my hand. Look at that. I love it that it's a cityscape. Really bringing these images into the present. And here's the 3, watching the ships go, like, or come, whichever way. And the 4. So we don't have, I mean, we do have these walls and things, but we don't have those wands representing like a structure to party under, you know? It looks like they might be, are they cleaning up for a party, cleaning up after a party, something like that? Here's the 5. 2, oh, this one of the, a newer meaning that I've kind of been hip to for the 5 of Wands recently is too many cooks. You know, too many cooks spoil the broth. Too many chiefs. Too many people trying to be the boss, and it ends up in a tangle. So it takes me back then to my standard meaning, which is just a lack of coordination. Lots of effort, no coordination, no structure to it. Here's victory. Look at these little red guys cracking me up. There's the 7. Looks like Robin Hood. And there's the 8 with a witch. I love it. The 9. Ooh, bleeding out from under the helmet. Big notch in his shield. And the 10. Okay, now we have the Page of Brooms. Got the sun shining through with all of these and the night. So if we go back to the quartz for balloons, we see the focus being on earth, 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 right? Very green, mountains in the background. Here we've got the sun shining and the horse bucking up. There's the queen with her kitty and some lions. And the king with a salamander. I think that's a salamander. Looks like his cloak there. Okay, here's the buckets. These are cups. So we've got the dove flying down with the host. And look at how he's pouring water out. How interesting is that? Okay, there's the 2 with the caduceus. And we see them. Very interesting images. There's the 3. We're having some fun now. And the 4. Here, take this. I don't want it. I'd rather be in a pissy mood. And here's the 5. Oh my God. So this person is like blinded by this emotional whatever and is about to knock over the 2 remaining buckets because he can't see straight. Wow. There's the 6. Memories. The 7. Castle, dragon, money, heart, as we're used to seeing. I like the witches and wizards in the deck. There's the 8, walking away. Big blowout bucket sale at Pop's shop is the 9. And the 10 with the beautiful rainbow and the wedding. See, that reminds me more of like what the 4 looks like of wands. Here's the page. The fish in the bucket, there's the knight, the queen, a mermaid, and a marrow. Ace of spoons, these are swords. Look at how he's tossing these leaves and a crown and flames. Wow, fascinating. Especially flames when these are swords, which is air, but hey. The 2 familiar blindfolded. There's the, oh, look at this. So we don't see the heart stabbed and bleeding. We just see they're coming for it, right? There's the 4. Oh my God. Look at that. Very broad as far as fantasies. We have magicians and witches and wizards and vampires and regular old people and executives, and then the 5 of spoons. So look at, it's buckets of ice cream. You can't possibly eat all that ice cream, but I'm not going to let you have any anyhow. Sore loser, bullying. Here's the 6 of spoons. Going to give the fish a little something to eat, and there's this shark ready to pounce. Wow. So again, it adds another little something to it. There's the 7, the thief card. The 8, very recognizable. The 9, I like that they're just hanging from the ceiling. The 10, oh goodness. So now we go whole hog. Yikes. There's the page. Lightning, lightning is the theme there. The knight. No lightning here, but there's the queen and the king. All right, let's give this baby a blessing. It really is a delightful deck, and you go in thinking it's just going to be a fun, whimsical Waite-Smith. And then the author adds some very interesting things in here and there. I should have put some more sage in my thing, but I didn't. So we'll just have to make do, eh? Come on, there we go. By air and fire, may you be purified and charged. was weird because I got them out last night and deplasticed everything, and I could have sworn the cardstock was linen. By water and earth, may you be blessed and made whole. And by the sound of the bell, a little bit more. Here we go. Sorry if that was too much. May the spirit within you awaken. The spirit and intention of the artist, everything that the artist poured into it, the artist's understanding, guides and guardians, allies and ancestors. Thank you for being here. Thank you for seeing us through my son's surgery in fine style. And thank you for bringing good messages to my mind so I can do a very good reading. And thank you for this deck. Thank you, Adam Stoller, for this wonderful deck. And I offer you fresh water. I offer you the fire of Azrael, a little bit more, or a lot more, to bring the spirit of divination forth. Yes! Okay, I don't have any qualms about shuffling. I mean, it is a small deck, like a, quote unquote pocket deck, but I don't know that it's not as small as the usual pockets, but it is a smaller deck. But because the cardstock is good, you can still riffle shuffle. So hooray for that. It's a, if it was a narrower deck, it would riffle better. When you get a little wider in relative to length is when things can get a little more difficult. All right. Wow. It's a tight shuffle, but it shuffles very nicely. All right. Here's off they go. Broom. So we have the 5 and the king. All right. That came on top. That came there. Oop, let me pull them down. So we have King of Brooms in the middle. Then we have the 5 of Brooms. We have the Star, the Wheel of Fortune, the Popess, and the 7 of Spoons. So we do have a decent mix. And that's why I like the riffle shuffle. Okay. So going intuitively, the King of Brooms is the King of Wands. We're talking about entrepreneurship, passion and creativity, the ability to achieve your goals, the ability to have an idea, have a passion, have something stir you up, and to take it all the way. All right. So usually the King of Wands, when he shows up to me, is denoting a professional of some sort, a person in a professional capacity. So a consult or someone that you have to go to the doctor. You need to talk to your professor. You need to go see a financial officer, something like that, a consultation on a professional basis. Brooms over here, 5 brooms, I would say, because things are kind of a mess. You don't have a goal. We need to solidify a goal. This could also be a counselor. And, the 5 of brooms talks about energies that are just scattered. Scattered or working at cross purposes. I'm doing this, and then you're coming behind me and doing something with this different set of instructions that's entirely undoing what I've done or gotten in the way, and things just not being coordinated. So it's a big waste of energy. And the Star here says there is hope. Okay. Then we have Wheel of Fortune and the Popess. So the Wheel of Fortune says there's the ring of destiny or luck about what's going on. And you notice I didn't even get to form a question, but our usual question is just a reading for the collective. What do we need to know right now? I try to not get topical. Sometimes I can't help it, even if I don't say it specifically. So interpret how you will. Wheel of Fortune here. What goes up must come down. It says that things change, and it's seasonal and organic change. It is the change that's inevitable, and there is maybe some luck and destiny about it with the Popess here looking over there. What I'm getting there is you create your own luck. So spending time with her visualizing, doing your devotions. The high priestess talks about doing devotional work to me. That when you either do ritual or spell work or prayer work, or mantra, meditation, any of those things that connect you with your deep mind, then we can do that to integrate change. We can also do that in order to catalyze change and to direct energies the way we want them to go according to our fate and destiny. Make your own luck. There's a saying, the harder I work, the luckier I get. And then down here, we've got the Seven of Spoons. Betrayal, the thief card. Okay, let's go to the book because I don't know. Here's the King of Brooms. The king has been getting a lot of complaints about the heat on this little vacation, but he has to admit he enjoys the sun. From the lion on his chest, his pet salamander, and the salamanders on his cape, everything about him says fire and strength. Natural-born leader, vision, entrepreneur, and honor. Okay, a leader. Then we go to the 5. So the 5 of Brooms and the 7 of Spoons both have an idea of something being taken away. 5 of Brooms just talks about a waste of energy because of the process that we're taking, because of how we're going about things. It's a waste of energy and we're not getting the job done. Okay. 5 custodians come upon a spill in a school hallway at the same time. They appear ready to come to blows over who should clean it up. They all believe they have the proper skill set to do the job. Since each has a different background, they should come together to solve the problem. Conflict, disagreements, competition, tension, diversity. So, I mean, like I was saying before, it's hard to avoid being topical when you can look at the topic being who's in charge, right? And this being competition and disagreeing and tension and division. And it really is speaking to the times we're in on October 15th, 2024, barreling down on an election where things are just really divisive. But the star over here says there is hope. Alice was always a free spirit. Frequently, she enjoyed getting naked and grabbing pictures of whatever she had in the fridge, taking them down to the lake and dumping them in. Sometimes the contents made it into the water, sometimes it didn't. Either way, she enjoyed the attention. Good health, inspiration, opportunity, spirituality, hope. So it's also, the star also has inspiration. It's hard to be hopeful when we can't imagine something different. So we can be inspired with new visions of the future or the way things can be, and that gives us hope and carries us through. So we are hopeful even though we're kind of in the weeds a bit. Wheel of Fortune. The lion, the eagle, the man, and the ox have decided to take a trip to Vegas and test their luck. The eagle, representing the astrological sign of Scorpio, is down to his last 2 chips. Yet he still believes he's going to win. The man, representing Aquarius, is being a little more prudent with his bets. The lion, representing Leo, and the ox, representing Taurus, have both decided to bet heavily on a single number. But they have also held back something in reserve for one more spin. So we can see whose chips are whose and how they're betting. Changes, opportunity, luck, destiny, winning, chance. And then the Popess. I will be taking hits on some of these cards here. The Popess feels a bit awkward as she sits on the moon. She hesitantly holds out her resume, demonstrating how she is just as qualified as her male counterpart, the Pope. The columns behind her represent the Boaz and Jachin from the Temple of Solomon. The pillars signify the great spiritual principles, strength and will, and provide a little support for the moon. Spiritual insight, hidden talents, intuition, mystery, things yet to come. So yes, things yet to come, deep wisdom, hidden things and secrets. Things are changing, and the secret is, that she's hanging on to hope in order to manifest. And how interesting that she is just as qualified. She is eminently more qualified. Wow. Okay. Now let's see spoons. And this is the 7 of spoons. As Joe makes his escape from the home he has just robbed, he has no feelings of remorse. He's confident he will get away with this crime. Of course, it would have been more of an accomplishment if he'd grabbed some of the jewelry or money that was just laying around. Hopefully, he's happy with his spoons. Dishonesty, deceit, theft, manipulation, and cheating. Oh my God, you guys. I try so hard to be general and not topical, but this is it. This is absolutely talking about the election, that there's going to be a lot of trickery, a lot of betrayal. We do have High Priestess says we know secrets, we know things, we can be hopeful. Then we've got another side that is just absolutely flailing, right? Flailing, rolling the dice, and then depending on deceit. There's the Magician, manipulation. There's the Tower. Holy shit. Let me mention that watching Lena, is it Lena Rodriguez? She's from Australia. She's a reader. Watching Marianne from Revealing Light. I cannot tell you how many times the Tower card comes up in every single video they've been making, and especially recently. So I'm going to jump in there too. We're certainly going to have people pulling strings and manipulating, like I said, rolling the dice and relying on thievery. But here's the Tower. Things are going to come crumbling down. I do want one last one. We had the 6 of balloons there, but they were telling me to reshuffle. Okay, I'm going to take one final. What's the final card? Wow, we've gone from, it was rainy, windy, gray when I started shooting, and now it's sunny. And all of the leaves are sparkling. Okay. All right. And we have the 9 of balloons. Okay, and there's the woman. There's the woman in her courtyard with everything she needs, safe and protected. Okay, I want to read the Magician and the other ones, just because, you know, just because. The Magician performs on stage before a rather sedate audience. He's a bit impressed with his own accomplishment as he manages to levitate the 4 suits of the minor arcana. The Rabbit looks on skeptically, uncertain of whether to fully emerge or not. Skill, self-confidence, will, diplomacy, concentration. And then skill and diplomacy. I like that. The Tower. All George wanted was to take his girlfriend to the top of the tallest building for a little lunch. Who could have foreseen being struck by a bolt of lightning out of a clear blue sky? Whoops, sorry, babe. So that's George. And I am like whiting out from the sunlight. Misery, distress, sudden destruction, unexpected change, catastrophe. And then we've got the 9 of balloons. And it looks like catastrophe that doesn't quite touch her. Surrounded by a bountiful harvest of grapes and a wealth of balloons, Edith revels in her success and prosperity. The falcon on her hand and the fox around her neck speak to her accomplishments. She's managed to accumulate everything that her heart could desire: abundance, self-sufficiency, financial independence, and luxury. So, I mean, balloons, we are talking about pentacles there, but it does show the woman in victory. There's the 8. There's the Queen of Cups. Okay. All right, let's just come back into the center now and let me know what you guys think. I mean, I'm always fascinated in doing random readings because when there is a very strong issue or topic happening at the time, that message is going to come through, whether it's the question you asked or not. That's kind of one of the things that people learn when they become readers, when they start reading for other people, and even reading for themselves, is with tarot. I will qualify that. With tarot, with oracles, no matter the question you're asking, if you're asking something where it's just kind of a distraction from what you really need to be looking at, the deck will totally talk about what you really need to be looking at. And And yeah, I kind of get used to that. I hope you can't hear my stomach growling. I hope you enjoyed that. Please let me know what you think. And thank you again, Adam Stoller, for a very interesting, fun little deck. You know, it's kind of like that spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down. If you're going to look and get some tough messages, cute images can soften the blow. Anyway, let me know what you think down below. Subscribe if you feel like it. Hit the like button if you in fact like this. I don't monetize my videos, so I'm not really worried about, come on, subscribe, go. I'm just not that. So do it if you feel like it. And I will see you next time. Until then, this is Luna. Blessed be.